You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now, TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN, streaming on the World Wide Web, and now on demand at tspntv.com. Hi everyone, Tom Slivick with Tim Murphy, City Councilman, Sutter Creek. Well, thanks for coming back up. The last program we did, we talked about the organization and the restoration of the schoolhouse, kind of talked about that a little bit. And then I said, why don't we come back and then we'll show a lot of pictures and talk about the project. And it's interesting talking to you here. A lot of people, I would have thought that was maybe the first schoolhouse built in Sutter Creek, and that was built in 1870. And then you tell me that there was one before that was built in 1859. So just 10 years after, Gold Rush times, the old song 49ers, right?
Right. Actually, it was 1856. And that's one. We have some pictures of a class picture from sometime in that period too, of the old school.
That's not the first slide?
Oh, no, pretty close.
When we get to that, now you put together a slide presentation for the City Council, right?
Right. I just did a summary for the City Council on the status of the project and thought that might be a useful way to cover it as part of this visit today.
Okay. Why don't we
get some of the facts out of the way?
Why don't we show one of the slides, and we'll wet your whistle there a little bit. Tommy can come on back to me, and I'll tell everyone that we'll be back right after this break, and we'll be talking about the Sutter Creek Grammar School Restoration Project. So stay with us right here on TSPN. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. Hi everyone, and we're back, and I'm with Tim Murphy, City Councilman from Sutter Creek, and we're talking about the Sutter Creek Grammar School Restoration Project. And we want to take a look at that, Tim?
I think first
slideshow, and let's go ahead and go through the slideshow.
Yeah, let's start off. Okay, well, this is just an introduction here. That's actually a picture of the school pretty much as it exists today. And here's a description of the project. It's a joint project between the city, the school district, and the Sutter Creek Community Benefit Foundation. And the intent of it is to restore it to public use, it's never going to be a school again.
Okay, and how much, I forgot the amount of funds that you had accumulated for the project. Is everybody contributing? Some in lieu, or?
Well, we're early. Let's say we're early in the fundraising part of it.
Okay.
But we have some good plans in place, and I think people will be hearing a lot more about that in the next few months.
Okay. Did you have an idea of how much it would cost to restore it? I thought we went into that over the last...
Yeah, we have a little, I don't know if you want to, that information is on some of these slides.
Oh, okay.
I'll be glad to talk about
great.
it.
Well, we'll get to that then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, basically it's a 30-year lease. The city has a 30-year no-cost lease from the school district to manage the restoration.
Okay.
The school district is always going to maintain ownership of the building. And the Sutter Creek Foundation is responsible to raise the funds. So they're the fundraising arm of the project. And we talked a little bit about them before. And the whole project base is really a tune-up, more than a tune-up, but pretty much a partial restoration of the building, following up on a major project that the Women's Club did in 1980, which we just had on the previous slide. Can we go back there a little bit? And there we go. In 1980, they replaced all of the major infrastructure. They got a new roof. They replaced windows, all electrical, HVAC. It was a huge project that was grant funded. And if it weren't for that project, there wouldn't be anything left to do. So we're kind of building on and updating what was done in the 80s. So it's about a 30-plus year vacant period there.
What part of the 80s was that?
It was over in 85. It went from 79 to 85.
Okay. 2 years before I came to Amador County.
Is that right?
Over a quarter of a century ago.
Quarter of a century. Yeah, time flies, doesn't it?
It sounds longer when you say it like that. Okay.
Does it? Quarter century? Yeah, I know the feeling. Okay. So the scope of what we're trying to do first is we want to remove some physical hazards, which we've done. The front steps were deteriorated to the point that they were a hazard, and the fire escape is pretty much a dangerous area. Most of that work's being done by volunteers and has already been done. The second major point is just prevent the building from any further deterioration.
Right.
And then finally, once we get that arrested, we'll get to the point of reusing the building. And both of those are significant projects. It's going to be a long-term project to fully reuse it, but we feel we're not far away from being able to have some limited reuse of the building. There's a lot of people interested in using it for different purposes.
What are some of the purposes that have come up with?
Well, one of the main aspirations is to have a museum in part of it, of Sutter Creek and the surrounding mines and the school itself. There's basically 4 big sections to the interior of the building, and one would be devoted to that. Other areas, other interests that are there. There's the model train people are still in part of the building, and they're eager to get back in. There's some dance classes that were there for many years, and they're eager to get back in. And not all of the uses require a lot of infrastructure changes. We just need to get things back in order and,
right,
and safe enough that we can use them.
And then some space so they can dance, or some...
right, yeah.
And I believe the model trains was in the basement area. Or,
well, it's on the first floor, yeah, the first
floor.
back floor, and that's a huge setup, and they're still there, and they're eager to get back to...
Yeah, HO layouts and layouts like to go along the outside walls.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing project.
Or the inside, but the of the walls.
Outside of the wall, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So here's some of the costs and some of the needs. These are things that we need to do right away. One is we need to replace the front steps, which we've removed. And the front porch itself needs to be rehabbed, which is all wood, of course, and clean and secure some features in the attic. And the bell tower, which is kind of the face of the building, between the porch and the steps and the bell tower, we're focusing on getting those things done. And then we have other longer-term issues, such as windows, and some of the windows, I believe, are original double-hung old wood windows that are just, I'm not sure what's holding them in place, some of them, but others are in pretty good shape. So we're going to triage that and see which ones we really need to get to.
Okay, so I guess you've found places that do window restoration or rebuild windows?
Well, we're working on that. Yeah. We're not sure we'll be able to actually get them rebuilt out of the same exact, but we might go with more modern windows that look exactly the same, and we're kind of on the fence about how to go forward with that.
That's a good idea. They probably last longer.
Yeah, they'll last longer and they're more efficient. And we don't want to have to do this again in 20 years.
Okay. Well, you know, pulling an 1870 building, like you said, if it was built, you know, in 1980, a big project, it was 110 years old when that was done. Yeah,
and if it weren't for that, it would have just rotted away by now.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially important is, you know, keeping the roof of an old building in shape. Otherwise, then the rain just very rapidly deteriorates the inside. You get rot going on and things like that.
Right. So, and fortunately, much of the roof was either replaced or rebuilt as part of the earlier project.
Right. Very good.
In 1980.
So, how are we doing with the slideshow?
Well, let's see. We got some pictures that I think are interesting I wanted to share with everybody.
Okay.
This photo here is actually the original school. This school was built in 1856 and burned around 1870. You can see that smiling group of look like hardworking kids. And that school is located at a different site. It was over by Anna or Woodward, but it burned down in an arson fire in a little before the 70s, 1870.
Okay, and so is that all of the class represented there?
I guess so. I don't know. We really don't have it.
The people come on in and say, "Oh, we know those." Identify some of the people.
Well, we're hoping to, and we have Frank Kuna has been working hard with the archives, county archives, and with a family in town who has their own little archive of class pictures and things. And we have class pictures from all over this period. Some of them have names on the back, and others we're hoping people can help us identify who's in the pictures.
Okay, that's really good. Why don't we take a break, and we'll be back. So stay with us right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Is that right? He's doing it?
Okay, we're back. All right, Tim, we're back, and we want to put that slide back?
Yeah, I want to get back to some of those old pictures.
Okay.
This is actually a picture of the, quote, new school. It was built in the late 70s. This is pretty much the current front of the school you'd see, and that's obviously the whole class and the faculty. It looks like some kind of a dedication.
Yeah, what I find so interesting about this picture is it looks like it was flat. Like very much...
Right, yeah, I can't explain that. There's been a lot of
and it
changes to the grounds there, but...
And I'm not sure if this is the picture or another picture like this where it looks like whoever took the picture was pretty high up.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Now this one, notice one of the things we're debating is what kind of stairs to put on the front, and if you look, these stairs come straight out. They're square to the face of the building, and they were wood.
Okay.
Okay, Tom. Now this is a really great picture. This is also kind of a celebration of the opening of the school. And if you see all these characters in the front, they're all posed. Those are different adults and kids, but some of the kids are posed like they're boxing, and there's people leaning on trees, and this whole thing is a posed picture of a cast of thousands in early Sutter Creek, I guess that is.
When I saw that, I thought it was interesting because a lot of times today when you try to take a picture, a lot of people would be turned around, but everybody was...
They were on
definitely
cue there.
wanted to have their picture taken here, so just about everyone is looking at us.
So that was in the early 1870s.
Right, and that's easy here to see the stairs that come straight at you.
Come straight out. Okay.
Now there's, I guess, you probably wanted to say it, sorry, but from the parallax of the picture, it looks like maybe they're not at 90 degrees, but are coming out at an angle.
Right. Yeah, that parallax. Those are either the world's biggest children and smallest adults in the back, or it's an artifact. But it's a class picture, and you can see that the ground is just flat around there too, which is curious. But anyway, that's an early 80s picture. This is a picture from 1884, is why we included it, and we're really not sure who it is. It's either the girls' senior class or the girls and the faculty, but they're, with the exception of 3 people, they're all women or older girls in it. So,
I think I said what could be very interesting is if you could identify some of these people or the people, then it winds up going into that software, the photo recognition that I think is available for people that put their pictures on the web.
Yeah,
they might be able to go ahead and tell you who the people are, the same people in other photographs as well. Some
of these families, I'm sure, are still, descendants of these people are still in town. This is a major addition. This was, if you look at there's a back wing now. It used to be just the rectangular building. That was done in 1890. At the same time, they built the porch on the front of the building and the wing across the back. That was the huge addition. And that's the picture we were looking at. It looks like it was taken from a derrick or something, looking down. But anyway, that's just a good summary. And this is a class picture of the brand new 1890 school on the front porch. And at the same time, the porch at this point was like a 3-sided porch. It was flared out to the sides, not unlike what it was recently, where it had wooden stairs out the front and then it was flared out the sides. Okay. So that's why we included that. And this picture is really great. This is undated, obviously, of the playground. And if you look at the right upper area, you can see there's 3 kids that are way up at the top of that, balanced on the bar that went up the rope climb. Right. Probably not an authorized piece of play equipment by today's standards, but I guess they survived, I guess. But that's a really nice picture. And obviously, music was a big deal back then. Picture the band from Sutter Creek, the Sutter Creek Grammar School Band, probably in the early 90s. The drum in the front, we actually found the remnants of that drum in the basement when we were cleaning it out. Right, and for not much left of it, but
people, sometimes, when you live in the era that you're in, you don't remember, but they didn't have a lot of recording.
No, music must have been a big deal.
It was personal. You made it usually live right at that time.
Right. And next is a picture of another. This is even a bigger band. And that's dated, I can't read it. Tom, what's that say? 23? 33. 1933, the Haywire Band, which is even a bigger band from the school.
Huh.
And they seem to have some kind of costume theme. They're dressed kind of like sailors and whatever. But that's a big percentage of the student body, which has continued for a long time. This picture here is taken about 1930, which shows the cement front steps, which replaced the wooden front steps, and remained until 1980 when the Women's Club renovated it and returned to the steps that were put in 1890, the wooden ones that we're all familiar with. So those people are almost certainly around here.
Okay, so this is where you can see an addition to the...
Right. And this basically, the school remained empty from the early 60s until the restoration by the Women's Club in 1985. This is basically what they started with when they started their renovation. You can see the upper windows are plywood covered, and it's pretty dingy, and that was a huge project. This is after the 85 restoration. This is what most people think of as the school today. Let's go on. There's some pictures next. This is a picture of the deteriorated fire escape that we're looking to get replaced. This is the two-story to the second story up there. Those planks many of those have been removed, and now we've got it fenced off, so there's no risk. We've also removed the front porch, which was deteriorated beyond repair and a hazard. That picture is out of proportion. I stretched it too far, but you can see the frame is still there, but we're considering now what style of porch to replace it with, and then we're going to be actively looking for some significant money to do that with.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Well, that's really something.
Yeah, it's quite a project. There are a lot of people involved in it, and between the fundraising efforts of the foundation and the help of the school, they've given us a lot of support and helped us, and plan on even working closer with the school about trying to get some enrollment names and things where we can maybe correspond with some of the families of people who were there, because one of the things we'd like to have in the museum is some anecdotal stories, either oral histories or written examples of incidents that happened, and it makes it more interesting.
Well, I'd imagine a few of the Boitanos could tell you something, or
actually,
and other Cunha and other people of that time whose families have been here for probably 6 generations now.
Right, I know, and Robert Manicero is part of the group, and he, I think, has like 5 generations of people who went through there.
Wow.
Louis Boitano, the same. He has some funny stories, which I probably not repeat right now, but there were
it might have been his father or something that was up on the...
Yes, might have been his dad on the playground, I don't know.
On the playground.
But a lot of people have either artifacts to contribute or old documents and things, and we hope to include those in the museum at the
Some
right
people
time.
might have their old report cards.
Well, actually, one of the families in town, the McGee family, has a really detailed, they have copies of graduation speeches, records, old class pictures and ceremonies, and we hope other people have similar artifacts that we can incorporate in
I'm sure there's probably a few people that are collectors that have things that never threw them away.
Yeah, we want a collector, but not a hoarder.
That's the value of people like that.
Yeah,
well, they could have been a hoarder. It's just harder to find.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll take that, too. If you're a hoarder and you have a relative who went to school, call us, okay?
Right. Okay. So that's really something. And once again, a great project. And to keep the history alive, and schoolhouses are a major part of the American heritage. As we could, like I was just commenting, the first schoolhouse was built just less than 10 years from the time that there were people first flocking to that area looking for gold.
Right.
So it doesn't take long to start to put the physical structures in and start to civilize the area, so to speak.
Yeah, we hope to find out more information about that original school too, because that could be an interesting part of the museum. And we want to focus it pretty much on the school and on Sutter Creek and the immediate mining community around there. And there are some people in town who that's kind of their avocation is the local history and are eager to contribute and have some really good artifacts.
Okay, it sounds like Ed Swift won.
Didn't want
think
to volunteer
about,
anybody's name, but
people who have a lot of information and old artifacts of the area.
Yeah, Ed's very interested in that and is helping us towards that end too.
Okay, all right. Well, Tim, it's really good of you to come by, and people, it's a great project. It sounds like if you know some of the people in the pictures, they might want to hear from you. If you'd like to volunteer, get in touch with, well, you know, if you live in Sutter Creek, I'm sure you'll know who to get in touch with. And the Historic Grammar School Commission is the committee that's in charge of this all, that was formed by the City Council.
Right.
All right.
All right, great.
Thanks again, Tim,
Thank you, Tom,
for coming by, and thanks for watching us here on TSPN. Stick around. There's more coming up right after this.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.